Hi everybody, let me start off with a little story. Three men, a project manager, a software engineer and a marketing manager are helping out on a project. About midweek they decide to walk to downtown during the lunch hour. Halfway to downtown they stumbled upon a lamp. As they rub the lamp, a genie appears and says, "Normally I would grant you 3 wishes, but since there are 3 of you, I will grant you 1 wish each." The marketing manager went first. "I would like to spend the rest of my life in a huge house in Hawaii with no money worries." The genie granted him his wish and sent him off to Hawaii. The software engineer went next. "I would like to spend the rest of my life living on a huge yacht cruising the Mediterranean with no money worries." The genie granted him his wish and sent him off to the Mediterranean. Last but not least, it was the project manager's turn. What would your wish be?" "I want them both back in the meeting after lunch," replied the project manager. As a project manager, you will be able to relate to this story. Let me start with some background on project management terminology, project management history, and responsibilities of a project manager. After listening to this lecture, you should be able to distinguish project management from operations and from product management, know the history of project management, understand the roles and responsibilities of a project manager, and know what does it take to be successful as a project manager. Let's start off with some project management terminology. What is a project? A project is a temporary group activity designed to produce a unique product, service, or goal. Temporary means it has a defined beginning and end. Unique means a project is different from repetitive operations. Projects typically have a defined narrow scope, focusing on developing, implementing new processes or systems. Operations, or business as usual, focusing on executing existing repetitive processes. For example, producing client reports. However, many projects are handed over to operations or support teams at the end of the project. As a project manager, you could design and supervise a project to develop a CRM system or a customer service process. Once the product or the process is going live, the project manager would hand it over to operations or to the support teams. Operations and support roles and project management get sometimes commingled when the project manager is asked to perform technical roles. This often happens when the project manager fails to properly close out the projects in terms of handing over the project to the proper support teams. Project management is the process of planning, controlling resources to achieve a specific goal. For example, to develop and implement a new web application, or to improve the quality and turnaround time of customer service inquiries. As mentioned, project management is different from operations. Projects typically have a very defined narrow scope and are typically short-term, while operations tend to be ongoing endeavors. Operations focus on managing existing processes, for example, producing a client or internal report or documents. Project management is also different from product management. You can think of product managers are being project managers with heavy emphasis on the marketing side. Project management focuses on the when. When is a milestone being completed? Product management focuses on the why. Why will we need this feature? Why would it improve customer satisfaction or increase user acquisition? In some organizations, roles of project management and product management are sometimes performed by the same person, frequently in startup environments. Let's take a brief look at the evolution of project management. Until the 19th century, architects and engineers typically manage projects. In the 50s, organizations started to use structured methods for projects. The forefathers of project management are Henry Gantt and Henry Fayol. Gantt is famous for the use of the Gantt chart as a project management tool. Fayol is famous for creation of the 5 functions that form the foundation of the project management body of knowledge. The 1950s marked the beginning of modern project management. In the 1950s, 2 mathematical scheduling methods were developed: the critical path methods, the CPM, and the program evaluation technique, or PERT. These mathematical techniques quickly spread into many organizations. In 1956, the American Association for Cost Engineers, AACE, was founded by practitioners of project management. The AACE continued its pioneering work and in 2006 released the first integrated process model for portfolio, program, and project management. In 1967, the International Project Management Association, IPMA, was founded in Europe. IPMA has a federal structure and now includes member associations on every continent. In 1969, the Project Management Institute, the PMI, was founded. PMI publishes the Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge, the PMBOK Guide. PMI also offers several certifications, such as the PMI certification. So project management evolved as a combination of business or business administration and engineering. Therefore, to be successful as a project manager, you need to be business as well as tech savvy. Let's talk about the responsibilities of a project manager. In a nutshell, a project manager is responsible for planning, executing, and closing a project. He's responsible for accomplishing the agreed project goals with the agreed time, budget, and scope. Key activities of project managers include defining clear and attainable project objectives, documenting project charter that includes the issues to be resolved, project goals, scope, team, timeline. Project managers have also to manage the triple constraints for projects, which includes cost, time, and scope. They're also the primary point persons on contacts for any issues or risks during the project. So people frequently ask, what does it take to be a successful project manager? First, you must be a great communicator. It is said that more than 50% of the project manager's time is spent in some aspect of communication, either oral or written. This includes meetings, status reports, emails, phone calls, coordinating, talking to people, completing documentation. Some studies have shown that verbal and written communication takes up to 80% of the job. If you're not an effective communicator, or if you don't care to be an effective communicator, don't become a project manager. Second, you must be a team player and work well with people. If you prefer to stay in your office and focus on your own work in front of your computer, you probably don't have the collaborative ability to be a good project manager. Project managers need to spend a lot of time with clients, stakeholders, and team members. Third, you have to balance being very detail oriented and never lose sight of the strategic goals of the business, the big picture that may include corporate politics. You have to be detail oriented when reviewing schedules, when reviewing requirements or issues. And also think about the big picture in terms of strategic business objectives, requirements, and office politics and dynamics. 4, you like to manage people. You don't have to be much of a project if you're the only resource. If you want to become a good project manager, you must be able to manage people. You will not have 100% responsibility for people, but you will need to show some kind of leadership and hold people accountable, manage conflict and other team conversations. Fifth, you like to follow processes. And I know that nobody wants to be a slave of processes, but you need to be good in following processes and implementing them in projects. And also you need to like to document things. Many projects require a lot of documentations. You need to provide status reports, update project plans, update change requests, develop project charters. And another important trait is you need to like to plan. If your first instinct is when you get an assignment to get together and start executing, you don't have probably the project management attitude. You really need to have this focus on planning. You need to be able as a project manager to push back if people ask for change requests or things that are just not feasible. You don't just execute orders. Pushing back when the client is asking for things that are not right is very essential. If your client raises a request that is out of scope, you also need to invoke the scope change management process. Next, you need to be very organized. People who have poor personal organizational skills and techniques typically don't make good project managers. If you're going to manage multiple people over a period of time, you need to be very well organized, that everybody is doing what he or she needs to do efficiently as possible. And last but not least, as a project manager, you need to feel that project management is really value-adding and not just an administrative task. Nobody can feel good about their job if you think the work that you perform has no value. Good project managers understand the value of their work, and they understand that their work will result in a project and project results that positively impact the business. If you think the work associated with project management is overhead or no value, you're probably not the right person as a project manager. You really need to be convinced that project management is value-adding. So let's review what we covered. A project is a temporary group activity designed to produce a unique product, service, or goal. Project management is different from operations management, and it's also different from product management. Project management evolved in the 1950s as a combination of business or management disciplines and engineering. Project managers have to manage the triple constraints for project, which includes cost, time, and scope. They are also the primary point of conflict for any issues and risks. And to be successful as a project manager, you need to be business and tech savvy. To be successful, you also have to be a great communicator, a great team player, and balance attention to technical details, as well have the big picture, the strategic goal in mind.